Hi, hello, my name is Michelle. You can call me Mish. I love to read, and in January, I think it was in January of this year, I posted a video on YouTube, on Booktube, that was supposedly my introduction to Booktube. This happened in January, it's now August, it's been 8 months, and I have a grand total of 4 videos on this channel, so clearly something's not really going right. When I made that video, I also wasn't aware that there was such thing as a Booktube Newbie Tag, but now I know. So here we are, the Booktube Newbie Tag. A chance for you to get to know a little bit more about me and my reading tastes and my reading journey. Question number 1 is, why did you start the channel? I love books. I love to ramble. I especially love to ramble about books. I also love to listen to other people ramble about books. And so I feel like it just makes sense. If you can relate, then we are the same. So I want to hear you ramble about books, and I also want someone to ramble about books too. And I feel like this is just a good place to do that. It just makes sense. And I also am someone who loves long-form content. I love watching Booktube videos. I get most of my recommendations from Booktube videos, and my point is I like to consume long-form content, and therefore I think I would have a better time creating long-form content. Question number 2, what are some unique things you can bring? I would say that in general, I read a very diverse, I read across a very diverse spectrum of books. Diverse in terms of genre, diverse in terms of culture, diverse in terms of where the author is from. I'm kind of open to giving anything a try, and I also don't really DNF books ever, for better or worse. I just personally, for me, I feel like just because I don't enjoy the process of reading a work doesn't mean that I won't still learn something from it or gain something out of it. Yeah, I think as a result, I consume a very wide range of literature, both fiction and nonfiction. I really like nonfiction, actually. I probably read more nonfiction and memoir compared to most readers, at least my age, in my age bracket. So perhaps that is unique. But I think, yeah, I don't really have a specific niche, at least not anymore, not at this point in my reading journey. And so I think that in itself perhaps makes me unique. Question number 3, what are you most excited for? I am most excited for meeting more readers. I love meeting people who read. I love talking to people about books genuinely. And I would love for us all to have a safe space for us to share our thoughts and recommendations, because we all come from different places. We all perhaps approach reading from different angles and different perspectives based on how we grew up, where we grew up, etc. And I think it's more important now than ever to take in all of these different perspectives and to continuously learn and immerse ourselves in different cultures and different worlds. I'm excited for the community, and I'm also excited for the unending recommendations that are sure to come my way. Not that my TBR needs to be any longer than it already is, but there's always room for the TBR to grow. All right, number 4, why do you love reading? I honestly don't know that I even have an answer to this question. I think I just really like to learn, And reading, no matter if it's fiction or nonfiction, is learning, and it's engaging your brain. And I feel like in this day and age, like, people are trying to make it harder and harder for us to engage with our own brains, right? In the age of technological everything and digitized everything and AI. Yeah, we don't even need to go into that. But I think reading is just so fun, it's so engaging, and now, especially as I have grown into my adulthood, I have really sunken into the learning aspect of reading. And I also just really love words. I also like to write, and words are really precious to me, and so I have a lot of fun seeing how different authors take on the craft of writing, because it's no easy feat to write a page, to write a sentence, let alone a whole book, you know? And I just have so much appreciation for that. Question number 5, when did you start reading / what books got you into reading? I started reading when I was so young. I don't remember exactly when, but my parents talk about me reading, like, at least flipping pages of like little Chinese books when I was 1. So I think I've always been drawn to books and the act of flipping pages, but I was an avid reader in elementary school, also in middle school, also in high school, at least reading for fun. I was the kid who sometimes I was such a good student, and I loved school. I still love school. I miss school so much, honestly. I think I just am someone who, I love to learn, but I need to learn at my own pace. And sometimes I think for me that was faster than the class was going, and sometimes it was slower. But oftentimes when it was fast, like once I got the point and I kind of like got a little bit bored with what was happening in class, I sometimes would like read under my desk. And so I was never a bad kid in school. I never like got in trouble for anything other than like that. So yeah, I don't know, I've just like loved reading from when I was really young, and I have no idea what book got me into reading, like really got me into reading as a kid. There are so many, but there are so many books that I can remember like very vividly going to the library for. In elementary school, like Junie B. Jones and like Cam Jansen and The Magic Tree House and Geronimo Stilton, I remember. The A to Z Mysteries, that was a big one. In high school, I was really into the Warriors Cats series. I devoured those books in high school, and now when I talk about it, no one ever really knows what I'm talking about. So am I the only one who read those books? They were so good. Jodi Picoult, I would say, was my introduction into quote-unquote adult literature, if you will. I say that in quotation marks because I started reading her in like 7th grade when I must have been like 12 years old. Definitely not an adult, but I loved her then. I love her work now. I have so much respect for her and just the amount of research she puts into her work, and she's just so unafraid to tackle the tough, real world topics that need to be talked about, need to be discussed. And she's just not afraid to do it, and I saw that then, and I see that even more so now as an adult in the real world, as the world is shifting a lot. I guess in a way, Jodi Picoult made me the reader that I am now. Question 6, what kind of books do you like to read? Like I said, there's not really anything that I'm not game to read. I would say that my least read genres would be romance and romantasy. I don't read a ton of poetry, but I do love poetry, and so as a result, I think I like any book that has really poetic prose, a lot of literary fiction. But I've also like evolved a lot as a reader in the past few years, especially thanks to my boyfriend, who reads primarily a lot of genre fiction, a lot of fantasy, a lot of sci-fi, even a lot of magical realism, and those were some things that I was a little bit afraid of before, but now I'm very into as well. So yeah, I read all kinds of books, but like I mentioned earlier, I do really like nonfiction, especially the memoir subgenre of nonfiction. And also I have a background in public health, and I was a pre-med kid back in the day, and so I do read a lot of nonfiction books that are centered around health topics as well. But really what it comes down to is nonfiction, period, because everything is public health. Alright, I also am a sucker for the found family trope. That's probably my favorite of all of the big tropes right now. Question 7, where do you read? Well, I spend a lot of time in the New York City area, but I don't live in New York City technically anymore. So I spend a lot of time reading on my commutes, on the train, on the bus. But recently I've been trying to read more in the parks, when the weather's nice, if I can find a shady area. And I also read a lot in coffee shops. I don't typically read a lot at home, just because I don't always spend that much static time at home. But that's been different recently. I've been trying to not necessarily read more, but I have been intentionally trying to spend less time staring at my phone, and as a result I've just been reading more at home, because I'm just more drawn to books than, say, my journal or my coloring. Although those are nice sometimes, I need to be in the mood for those things, whereas reading is an all the time thing for me. I guess the short answer would be everywhere. I read everywhere. I don't go anywhere without a book. Alright, question number 8, what does your book collection look like? This question is hard for me to answer because we don't have a book nook in our apartment. We have this shelf that's behind me, and then we have two shelves, two like sizable shelves over there, and then one smaller one, and then we have just some like stacks of books here and there that don't fit on the shelves. And so as a result, I don't really have a good place to film, and it's not easy for me to show you what our book collection looks like since it's kind of scattered. We also have more books than we have shelf space. Words. We also have more books than we have shelf space for. We do have 2 of the IKEA Billy bookshelves. They're wide, but they're short. They have 3 rows, and I'm trying to get the extenders for them, but they're out of stock in all of the stores in the vicinity of where I am, and they also aren't shipping here right now. So I just am not really sure what to do with that. Maybe I'll try to like throw in some photos of our current book collection, and then one day I can do a book tour, a bookshelf tour. For now, I need help. All right. Question number 9, what would you ask your favorite booktubers? This is hard because I watch a number of different booktubers pretty regularly, and they all are so different from each other. So some people that I love include Jack Edwards, of course, the OG, Emmy, Carolyn, they have kind of similar energies, kind of. The Book Leo, very different. Ian Goobly, love. And also his wife, Ashlyn, also love. They're all so different. They have such different vibes and energies and aesthetics and personalities, honestly. They're just such different humans, and I feel like if I had the opportunity to have a conversation with them, I would want to get to know them as humans. So I feel like I would want to know like what kinds of things they like to do for fun outside of Booktube, and also outside of their normal work if Booktube is not their only work. I want to know like what their hobbies are and what their interests are outside of this space. However, I will say that I am always someone who's interested in book recommendations, and so I would love to know probably from each of them, what are 3 books that you think I should absolutely read in my lifetime? Question number 10, what challenges do you have to overcome? I think just organizing my thoughts in a way that they make sense for me and also for you, and also saying less is something that I'm trying to work on as I've been watching these videos back. I feel in my core that this one is better. However, that might just be my own perception. So that was the Booktube Newbie Tag. Let me know down in the comments what thoughts came up for you. Are there any books that you think I should read? What kind of content are you interested in from me, I guess, or in general from Booktube? What are you looking for from the Booktube community? Perhaps I can help to fill some gaps. Remember to be kind and be nice to each other out there. The world is a scary place, and we need more love. We need more love, we need community, we need more open-mindedness. Okay, yeah, spread love, not hate. That's all I got. I love you. Bye!